All right, what's happening, people? So today's day 6 or 7 or 8. I don't know. I wasn't thrilled with the neck because the turners that I've seen, every single one of them has the striped neck. So I redid the neck. Here's where I'm at on the neck. I got it rough shaped. Right? It's pretty much the same as it was, only this time it has the walnut stripes in it. So when I sandwich these together, see if you guys can see that. Okay, see how that piece is not, see in there? So when I sandwiched those together, what I did was I took that middle piece of maple right there, and I just cut a notch. I just hacked one out with my coping saw, just so that I would be below the finished surface of the neck, just to give me an easier time with the router. If the route is already started, the route wants to follow that same channel. So it kind of gives me an advantage when I set my router up to, it's just going to follow along where the missing wood is. I only left it maybe 3/16 or a quarter of an inch deep, but just enough to give my router something to ride in. Of course, I still have to, put the guide on the side of the router and all that for routing in the truss rod. I got a 420 millimeter truss rod in my box over there that I was going to use, but I bought a 400 millimeter truss rod instead. That gives me enough truss rod to go under the 0 fret and about an inch and a quarter into where the body line comes to here. Here's where the body is, and the truss rod runs. So here's the body line right here. So the truss rod runs about an inch, maybe an inch and an eighth into the body line. The reason that I wanted the shortest truss rod I can get, a lot of people don't take this into consideration, but if you're doing a build, this is something to consider. The truss rod is going to bend from the center, right? So it's the weakest part of the metal bar that's in there, and you're compressing it from both ends, or you're shrinking it from both ends if it's a dual action. A dual action just means you got threads going opposite direction on this end than you got on this end. So turning the adjustment nut one way tries to squeeze it together, and turning it the other way tries to force it apart. But the longer your truss rod is, your center is going to change, right? So it's always going to want to bend in the middle. And I want that bend where I want that bend. I don't want that bend to be up at the 12th fret, right? It's not going to do me any good at all up there. If I'm going to have any relief in this neck, if I need to have any relief in this neck, it's always around 5 or 7, right? 5, 6, 7 fret number. So the shorter the truss rod that you can put in there, you're pushing the middle of that truss rod towards the nut. As long as you've got some truss rod going into where the body is, that's all you need. There's no need for you to go longer. Going longer actually is going to take away from what your truss rod is going to be able to do, because it's going to move the center of your truss rod. Remember, if this is 3 inches longer into the body, it's going to move the center an inch and a half. So that's, when you get up around frets number 7, 8, and 9, that could be 3 frets away. So Shorter is better so long as it's not too short. To shape the top wings, I built a sled for my router. It just looked like an arch, two twin arches. It looked like a bridge, right? And I ran the router up and down that sled, back and forth, and inched it along side to side. And here's what I finished with. I'll show you guys the back, because I did the back all of it in one piece. Okay, that's like a 25-inch radius there. Came out pretty good. You could see that's exactly like 1/8 of an inch there. And then on the opposite side, it's like exactly 1/8 of an inch there. I think my light might be a little too bright for that. Let's try backing off a little bit. So here's the top. Here's one of the top wings. The back is continuous, right? These channels are because if you've ever seen a Turner, I love the neck, I love the body, I love everything about it, except I hate they got this big ugly control cavity cover. It looks like it doesn't belong on that guitar. It looks like they could have done a better job on it. So I'm engineering this guitar so that I have no rear control cavity cover. It's just a solid back. We'll talk about that more when we get there. There's some engineering kind of built into this to make it possible for me to do that. But here's one of the wings for the top. You can see my router marks going this way, and they just kind of came and left the edge. The router bit came along and just left the edge right on that last 1/8 of an inch there. Exactly what I wanted. So there's the edge. Okay, so that's that 1/8 of an inch on the widest part of the guitar. Here's the opposite wing, right? So they came out pretty good. I was pretty happy with the performance of the sled. I ordered a veneer for this thing, and I did account for 1 millimeter of thickness of veneer for the bridge, for the bridge height. I accounted for 1 millimeter, but I ordered the wrong veneer. I thought it was 18 centimeters. It's 18 millimeters. That ain't gonna do it, right? So I got to reorder the veneer for it. The next thing that I do is I will channel out for the truss rod. I'll get that all carved in, set in there. I'm not sure about. I think I'm gonna leave like the Brian May volute. I don't know if it's called a volute anymore, but look up the Brian May neck support and check out what he's got going on there. It's pretty cool. I think I want to do something along those lines. Something that's going to look probably like something that's going to look something like that. You'll see. It's not going to look like that. But I'll explain that more when we get to that part. So let's say I got to route the truss rod, and then I'm going to do probably going to work on the inlays for the fretboard. So I think those two things are going to be next, because I'm going to use the fretboard to shape the width of the finished neck. So more on that when we get there. Peace.